It's 2005 and the future is now, because you can finally play as either a boy or a girl in Pokémon. But before you play, make sure to read the manual. Let's see here. It is recommended that you choose a character with the same gender as yours. Well, you see, it was a different time. Gender nonconformity hadn't been invented yet. But here in the future, we don't have to conform. Screw you, Nintendo. I'm gonna play as a girl. Let's find out how the other half lives. Yeah, this seems about right. Why am I playing Emerald instead of Ruby or Sapphire? Because fool me once by releasing an enhanced version of your game a year later that makes the original look like early access. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Try to fool me a third time? Why are you like this? Cease. Talk to Mom about how convenient it is using Pokémon as forced labour. Bechdel test passed. Withdrew the potion, as is tradition. Go visit the neighbours and meet their kid Brendan. He heard I was a gym leader's kid, so assumed I was a guy. Forgive him. It was a different time. Back in 2005, being the female child of a gym leader had only just been legalised. A scientist at the local mom-and-pop laboratory condescendingly tells us that Professor Birch prefers to do field work and isn't here. So we head off to find him and discover that the Pokémon professor, who prefers field work, didn't anticipate being jumped in the tall grass by Pokémon and can't handle a raccoon. To help him out, we get a choice of 3 starters and pick Mudkip, because then you get Swampert, and Swampert is the best. It's a water and ground type. It's immune to electricity. What could even harm it? It feels like cheating. The professor invites us to go back to his lab later. Also, later is now. He lets us keep the Pokémon we chose for helping him and suggests we go find Brendan a couple routes over. Despite our protests, we agree to go find him and beat up his Trico. Birch congratulates us on beating his kid and rewards us with a Pokédex. Brendan gives us some Pokeballs, then mansplains to us that it's more fun to have a bunch of Pokémon despite himself only having one. Having received a Pokémon, our mother wishes us luck. We didn't tell her we were going on an adventure or anything, but I guess that's her way of kicking us out of the house. On the way to Petalburg, an Andrew Tate watcher tells us consent doesn't matter and we have to accept his challenge, so we beat up his dog. We arrive in Petalburg and visit our dad's gym. He greets us with a then says to go away and get more badges before challenging him. Good talk. Guess we'll head off to Rustboro and beyond first, but before that, a kid named Wally arrives to borrow a Pokémon so he can catch his own. We help him catch a Ralts by walking behind him and providing moral support. Silently. Then some guy called Scott appears. He says we're too clean to be a Pokémon trainer and leaves. I think I just got negged. On the way to Rustboro, we stop a Team Aquagrunt from stealing from a Devoncorp researcher, who then tells us they're after something in Rustboro too. For some reason. Guess vetting for competency isn't high on the list of priorities when you're putting together a criminal gang. I like filling my mouth with seeds then spitting them out fast. The NPCs in this game have no filter. I'll accept your challenge. I have a lot of money. 0 out of 10 flirting, I can just beat up your raccoon and take your money. Go to the local school. Find out corporal punishment is in effect. It's 2005. It was a different time? Go to the local gym headed up by Roxanne, the rock-type trainer. Roxanne, the rock-type trainer. Aha, 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 ha, ha. Water beats rock, stone badge acquired. Witness a Team Aquagrunt steal goods from the Devoncorp. He then kidnapped Mr. Briney's Wingle and ran into a dead end. I think these guys are dumb. Having returned the goods to Devoncorp, I get voluntold to smuggle them across the region to Captain Stern in Slateport. And whilst I'm doing that, would I be a dear and also deliver this letter to Stephen in Dewford? It's 2005. Child labour laws don't exist. Mr. Briney will take me if he can stop chasing his Wingle, and I get a Pokénab as payment. The Pokénab is a piece of futuristic tech because it combines a phone and a map. It was 2005, okay? Devoncorp got its start as a producer of stones from quarries. Devon now markets sundries and pharmaceuticals for better lifestyles. Oh great, I'm the delivery girl for a local mom-and-pop big pharma/mining corporation. On the way, Brendan forcibly adds his contact details into my Pokénav, then says he won't go easy on me even though he's already lost to me and will lose again because he didn't teach his grass-type Pokémon a grass-type move. Bet you didn't know Mr. Briney was a strong sailor. I did actually, you condescending little Having arrived in Dewford, our bespoke delivery service finds us going to the bottom of a cave to hand the letter to Stephen. He gives us the TM for Steelwing, says he thinks we could become league champion, doesn't elaborate, leaves. No idea what makes him so special, but he's the most competent adult I've met so far. We brawl with the fighting type leader Brawly. Water beats fighting when it's 3 levels higher. Knuckle badge acquired. Off to Slateport. Beat up some kids at the beach after I showed you my round dinner tube too. Yeah, it's probably good to learn young that girls don't appreciate unsolicited tubes. We meet Captain Stern at the museum, but before we can hand over the goods, Team Aquagrunts appear to stop us. Oh no! Anyway, then their leader Archie appears and says that because all life depends on the sea, they are dedicated to expanding it. He then leaves before he can be called out on how stupid that is. We leave the museum and Scott makes an appearance to say he saw we fought off Team Aqua, so he'll be keeping an eye on us. Also, we should swap contact details. It was 2005. Grown men could watch over children and get their phone numbers without it being considered. Actually, no, that was still creepy then. Why is he like this? Just say you're scouting for strong trainers for the battle frontier. You're making it worse on yourself by being mysterious. On the way to Moorville, we find a trick house. How fun! You are being watched. A self-titled trick master challenges us to reach him, then goes to the back of his house via spinning. There's a lost child back here, crying that he wandered in accidentally and can't get out. To open the door and escape, we need to give a compliment that satisfies the trick master's ego. He then congratulates us on figuring out his tricky trick of using cut-a-lot, gives us a piece of candy and kicks us out. Well, let's never talk about that again. Caught a Minun. Pokémon Academics recommends Shock from Puzzle and Minun to boost vitality. Considering the caliber of academic we've seen so far, yeah, I can believe they'd recommend getting shocked would improve your health. Brendan stops us on the way to attempt to show off. Another easy sweep for Kip. Oh god, no, it knows a grass type move now. Quick, throw mud in its eyes. Send out sacrifice. Use potions. Nah, easy. Wasn't even rude. We arrive in Moorville City and get a free bike. They seemingly gave up on giving a reason why. Just, you need this to beat the game, so here. Take it. Wally wants to fight the local gym. He still only has a level 16 rolls. He wants to prove he's ready by beating us, and we beat him so easily he heads back to Verdanturf. Scott arrives having witnessed me bully the frail child, says he idolizes me for it, and bounces. With Wally gone, we can take on the electric-type gym leader Watson. What? Like the measure of electrical power? I laugh. Not because of the pun, but because Kipper is a ground type, your electricity means nothing, Dynamo badge acquired. Time to head for Lava Ridge. Also, Kipper evolved into Swampert, so we have now won the game. The rest is just a formality. Caught a coughing along the way. Coughing has thin skin, is full of toxic gas, and blows up at the slightest stimulation. I think my ex-wife was a coughing. I'm just kidding, she's great. She doesn't exist, but I'm sure she'd be nice if she did. In Meteor Falls, Professor Cosmos has had a meteorite stolen by Team Magmagrunts, who flee to Mount Chimney. Team Aqua's Archie comes along to say, don't worry, we'll handle this. Spoiler, they do not. We will also head off to Mount Chimney, so you don't have to. Then Professor Cosmo wonders what they're going to do at Mount Chimney. On the way to Mount Chimney, we fight a black belt named Nob, who, after we beat him, complains that his head is busted. Nob's head busted. What can I say, folks? Sometimes the comedy is pre-written. We get to Mount Chimney, which turns out to be a volcano. Who could have guessed? As expected, Archie has not been able to handle it, as he's busy battling alongside the world's fastest Poochyena. It's up to us to go beat up Team Magma's leader Maxi and stop his plan to use the meteorite to fire its energy into the volcano. That's not how meteorites work. Has any adult in this world read one book? Having beaten Maxi, he gives up and leaves the meteorite behind. For some reason. Archie thanks us but questions our allegiance, as though no one could possibly be against 2 criminal syndicates. With that nonsense dealt with, we get to Lava Ridge Town and take a relaxing dip in the hot springs, and then a relaxing trip through the local gym, headed up by Flannery. She uses Fire-type Pokémon. It was over before it even began. Before we head out, Brendan makes an appearance, gives us some goggles to get through the desert, compliments our dad as a means to insult us, then leaves before we can beat him up some more. Now that we have 4 badges, we can go beat up my dad. I don't have issues. Norman uses normal type Pokémon, getting a bit lazy now, just changing 1 letter. No type advantage, but being massively over-leveled means an easy balance badge acquired. Wally's dad makes an appearance to thank us for being kind to his son. There, sure, and gives us the Surf HM, which we immediately teach to Kipper just to be sure the game is over and we've won. See Stephen on the way to Fortree City. He says not much of anything but hopes we see each other again. I can never get a read on that guy. It's a surprisingly long journey to Fortree. Might see if I can rest in this house. Nope. Some Team Aqua grunts are blocking a bridge and tell us not to go in the Weather Institute. In the Weather Institute, we defeat all the Team Aqua grunts who insist it doesn't matter anyway, and they're headed off to Mount Pyre. There are a lot of important mountains in this game. Two important mountains. Before we can finally get to Fortree, we have to beat up Brendan. Another easy sweep for Kipper. Footage unrelated. He gives us the Fly HM for how impressively we beat him, and, having sensed another kid getting beat up, Scott makes his trademark appearance to congratulate us. We finally arrive in Fortree City, where everyone lives in tree houses. Maybe I'm mistaken and all the adults are also children. It would make sense why they do stuff like this and can't get anything done, but something's blocking the way to the gym, so we move on and find Stephen again. He gives us the Devonscope that lets us see invisible objects. What an oddly specific device. He then says we should meet again before flying away. Still no idea what his deal is, but now we can take on the Fortree gym, headed by Winona the flying type leader. Winona, Wind, I think they've given up at this point. Not the cleanest of sweeps for Kipper, but being almost 20 levels higher than all her Pokémon means we acquire the Feather Badge. Kipper also learned Earthquake, and oh would you look at that, it's the third time we've essentially won the game. On the way to Lily Cove, we see some Team Aqua grunts loudly declare they're off to Mount Pyre. At the top of Mount Pyre, we once again beat up a bunch of Team Aqua grunts, but Archie steals the red orb anyway, after Maxie already stole the blue orb. So good job us, even if it's not our job. I don't know whose job it is, to be honest. Apparently the blue orb and red orb must never be separated. That's why they were safely guarded by an old couple at a well-travelled location. I guess if absolutely no one in this world is competent except me and maybe Steven, we'll have to sort this out. We raid Team Magma's hideout and arrive just in time to see Maxie revive Groudon with the blue orb. Groudon then immediately leaps away. Somehow. Maxie thought he would be able to control the legendary Pokémon after it awoke, then accuses me of pulling a cheap stunt. He believes we're capable of causing a powerful, super ancient Pokémon to disappear, but also that he can take us on. He can't, so chases after Groudon. Meanwhile, in Slateport, Team Aqua steal the submarine Captain Stern had been working on, and wonder if we'll track them down to their hideout in Lily Cove City. Just why do you? Of course I'm going to do that if you say it out loud. Although, despite the blatant directions to their hideout, Archie still manages to escape. Again. Starting to question our own competence now, so we make our way out. Ooh, a Master Ball. Yoink. With Team Aqua up to no good but out of sight, we'll have to get back to them later. Let's do some shopping in the meantime. Oh, it's Brendan, who insists he wasn't buying dolls. For some reason. He wants to fight before we can shop, and we are so over-leveled we don't even have to worry about his grass types. We beat him so bad he gives up on being a trainer and flies back home to be a researcher with his dad instead. Before he goes, he makes sure to say he could totally become league champion if he wanted to. He just doesn't want to. What a loser. Off to go spend quality time with his dad. Working alongside him. Seeing him regularly. Anyway, shopping in Lily Cove Department Centre. Look at all the X items you can buy. No, seriously, look at them. What are they? To me it looks like those roll-on deodorants, otherwise I have no idea what it's meant to be. But who cares about that because it's time for contest. Let's do a contest. It's like battling, but worse. Wow! Let's never do that again. It was so bad that Scott made an appearance just to reassure us that he doesn't like them either. Which makes sense since no children get beaten up in the process. Let's forget all about that and head for Moss Deep City via Route 124, one of many water routes we're about to take. One might even say that there's too much water in this game, something you can say in 2005 without worrying it would be taken out of context. After many water encounters, we make it to Moss Deep City. Rumours abound that Team Magma is going to steal the rocket fuel from the local mom-and-pop launch site. Steven says he'll keep an eye on things while I check out the city. I guess I can trust him at this point. We take on the Psychic-type gym with the gimmick that it's a forced double battle. In other words, forcing Kipper to share the experience points because it's an easy sweep for the Mind Badge. We see Team Magma headed for the launch site and arrive just in time to find that Steven has failed to stop them invading. So we have to team up with him to stop them. And by team up, I mean Kipper sweeps while Steven is just there. Having foiled their plan to chuck the rocket fuel into Mount Chimney and make it erupt to expand the land, wait, what kind of plan is that? Using a powerful super ancient Pokémon to terraform kinda makes sense. Who knows what kind of power such legendary creatures have? But throwing fuel into a volcano? Are they just salty about losing Groudon so had to make something up to not feel bad? Well, they definitely feel bad now, and having been continuously foiled by a child, they decide actually, maybe they're in the wrong about this. But also that must mean Team Aqua are wrong too. Not great logic, but the right conclusion. Maybe don't try terraforming the planet. Maybe don't do things with massive known and unknown consequences. Having saved the world from Team Magma, Steven rewards us with HM08 Dive. They didn't reduce the amount of HMs from the previous game. HMs being a perfect mechanic in these games no one has any qualms about. Especially when it's another means of traversing water. Can't get enough of those water routes. But being able to dive means we can reach Team Aqua's second hideout and catch up with Archie. Actually, we don't catch up with him, we got to Kyogre before him. Somehow. He runs in behind us to say he will awaken Kyogre, but for his dream to be realised, he must make us disappear. We beat him handily, but then he awakens Kyogre anyway, so why exactly he felt the need to battle us or what we accomplished by beating him is a mystery. Kyogre then immediately leaps away. Somehow. Archie gets word on what's happening outside and is shocked to find out that releasing Kyogre means the world is flooding. His plan to raise water levels has completely destabilised the region and will cause unfathomable death and destruction to the surprise of no one other than Archie. Maxie runs in to say yes, it's true. I should know. I too almost destroyed the world as well, but I realised a couple hours earlier so can act morally superior. The pair head off to see if there's anything they can do to reverse this. Spoiler, no, they're useless. Speaking of useless, Steven swoops in to point out that things aren't going well and that we should head to Sutopolis to assess the situation further. Further assessment of the situation at Sutopolis seems to indicate that things indeed aren't going well. Groudon and Kyogre are not happy having been woken up and plan to slap each other for an indeterminate amount of time. Steven suggests we go meet a strange man at the bottom of a cave. Forgive him. It was a different time, and it's how we met him, so he probably doesn't think much of it. The strange man is Wallace, who reveals that Rayquaza, the third super ancient Pokémon, was said to have calmed the other two down in the past. If only someone knew where they were. But as it turns out, we know that Rayquaza is at Sky Pillar. Somehow. And so we head over to Sky Pillar and wake up another super ancient Pokémon. A thing that has made things worse twice in a row now, but for some reason we believe will make things better if we do it a third time. But it's prophesied to happen and prophecies never lie. And so, Rayquaza yells at Groudon and Kyogre about the dangers of CTE until they stop slapping. To thank us for our efforts, Wallace gives us the HM07 waterfall. Oh good. A third water HM. Was worried there wouldn't be enough ways to traverse water in this game. And so we can finally fight the final gym leader. But first, yoink! Now you might think it's irresponsible to catch Rayquaza since next time Groudon and Kyogre start destroying the world, they'll succeed unless we decide to release Rayquaza to stop them. To this I would counter, maybe they shouldn't have been level 70 then. You ever think of that? Look at me destroying this gym leader. His name's Juan, by the way, not that it matters much since the game is over. For allowing him to witness the power of Rayquaza, he gives us the Rain Badge and the TM for Water Pulse. Because what I really needed was another way to teach water. You know what? I'm Team Magma's new leader. They were right. 7.8 out of 10. I'm expanding the land because there's too much water. But before that, we must finish the side quest of becoming League Champion. Let the carnage begin. Oh. Hi, Wally. Wally made it all the way to Victory Road and credits us for helping him gain the strength to do so. And now he's going to fight us and finally win. And that's very sweet, but it's kinda bad timing since we have the leader of the super ancient Pokémon, while he has a bird, a cat, 3 magnets, a flower, and the all-time Pokémon Smash or Pass champion. Wally handles the loss well though, so we can leave with our head held high as we head off to destroy the Elite Four. It's not even close. Rayquaza is more than 20 levels higher than most of the Elite Four's Pokémon, on top of being a legendary. Now, am I arguing that they shouldn't have allowed the player to access such a powerful Pokémon before the Elite Four, as it completely trivializes what was meant to be the ultimate challenge? No. I don't have time to make that argument because I've already beaten the league and become champion. And of course, Brendan barges in last minute to offer advice as though we care. His dad's also here, spending quality time with his child. Must be nice. We enter the void that contains the supercomputer that updates Pokémon League records, such that in the future, everyone can look back and think, is that the mythical dragon that prevents the end of the world alongside a sloth and a duck? And with that done, all that's left is the postgame. Back at our home, there's a newscast about a new Pokémon that's been spotted. Mom asks if the Pokémon was red or blue. I prefer red. This is meaningless because there is now no way to know this means the new Pokémon is roaming about or where. If you think it's now in the Pokédex, you've Mandela affected yourself. Probably because that would make sense and your brain can't comprehend that Nintendo wouldn't do it that way from the start and only started doing it later. But there it is, not in the Pokédex, alongside a bunch of other gaps near the top where legendary Pokémon would be in the previous game's Pokédex. Could it be that there's more to find? If we search the final part of the ocean, we can use Dive to find an underground cavern. Could this be related to those mysterious runes found in the rest of the world? They very well might be, and all we need to do to keep going is decipher this. Code? What is this? Well, if we check the official manual, you'll find a braille chart to help you decipher it. It's 2005 and you're a child. You can figure out how to visually read the touch-based language. I am going to lose my mind. What are you talking about, Nintendo? Oh, and also, a fun fact I learnt recently. Here in the UK, the manual included a braille chart, as did the Japanese, Australian and European versions. But if you don't remember getting a braille chart, that's because in the US, they didn't include it. Want to know how the Americans were expected to figure it out? By using the official Prima Strategy Guide, available for only $14.99, because of course the home of capitalism would find a way to nickel and dime you. So yeah, it's 2005. There's no way kids are figuring that out. We can give up on completing the Pokédex. Guess the Battle Frontier is the postgame, the area that Scott was teasing the whole game. Turns out it consists of 7 unique gauntlets where, unlike in the main game, the trainers will use powerful Pokémon, sometimes even legendaries, with competitive movesets and held items. Opposing Pokémon scale to your level so you can't overlevel, you can't use items in battle, and set mode is mandatory. Oh, okay, I get it now. This is a child torture machine. No wonder Scott was hyping it up. But I've been making fun of how little challenge there is because you can just overlevel and focus on one Pokémon, so I should at least give it a shot. Me and Rayquaza. Rayquaza is banned. I'm not mad. Don't end the video on me being mad.